come on?
Glad that happened.
Okay. All right. We'll call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we would like to thank Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Brand, and Commissioner Riggin for joining us today. So to kick things off, I will turn it over to them and let them get things started.
Yep. So thanks for coming this evening. This is our fourth town hall of the year. We conducted 3 town halls previously, one in the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter, and we're wrapping up here in the great community of Selma. We really don't have an agenda. We don't have a presentation. We're really on more of a listening tour to hear what's important to you about your community, find out from the town council, what your priorities are and how the county commissioners can help. The previous 3 have been pretty interactive, relatively well attended, about like this. So again, thanks everybody for coming, and anybody that has a question for the commissioners, go for it. I have a question for the town council. What's going on with your industrial park? Is there anything happening there, or is there anything the commissioners can do to help?
So we're exploring a few options with that. Just a little backstory. A few years ago, we worked with the County Redevelopment Commission to tie that into the TIF that runs down 32, and appreciate the assistance with that. So this year we ended up getting our first development, which was a Dollar General, and we're hoping to get more onto this property because that's one of the best ways for us to increase our tax base. So we've explored many options in terms of multiple different developments. Nothing's come to fruition yet other than the Dollar General, but we're continuing to explore that. And so in order to develop that, we're running into a little bit of an issue with NDOT too. This is where we might, be able to use some assistance. Yeah. So that right there in 32 has about 10,000 cars a day, and it's about to the max where we would need a turn lane to get onto the road that we tied the Dollar General into. So any additional development that we put on there, they're basically going to require us to put in the turn lane. So we're not going to have the funds in order to do that ourselves. We're exploring options, but that's one of the main inhibitors right now is not inhibitor, but it's a challenge that we'll have to tackle once we get to the point where we find developments. And the water line. Another issue with the Dollar General that we ran into, there's a 12-inch main that runs up to, I think, one house before the Dollar General. So in order for the Dollar General to have tied into that, the water company was going to require them to run that water main across the frontage of their property, which they were not willing to do. So they ended up putting in a well to get around that. But again, any future development, we're going to have to explore options with that if the developer's not willing to foot that cost.
So the water company requires the new business to extend the water main to the furthest edge of their property. The Dollar General elected not to do that.
Correct.
Instead, they invested in a well.
Correct.
So the water company quoted us $600,000 to run that 400 feet.
70,000.
70,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, they're making money the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, we've talked about this before in the past. Have you talked with Bill Walters from ECIRPD?
Yes.
About this?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would like to see. I would like to see a proposal for the engineering of the entrance Because honestly, I know, NDOT's gonna push back on that entrance coming off of the highway. That's just the past experiences I've had, okay? But I think if you get an engineering company involved, and obviously it costs money, but get an engineering company involved, have that engineered, along with that engineering comes permits and the whole NDOT permitting process. And I truly think we can assist in making that happen. But I think, I would like to see a proposal for that engineered, the opening, the entrance to that, park. And let's include the water line.
I agree.
Let's include the water line on it. See if we can get an estimate on engineering to run that water line. All right? And then if you could bring that to the commissioners, we can take a look at that and see if potentially we could assist in some method. That's what I'd like to do.
How many acres is your?
So there's 22 acres remaining.
I did bring this up to President County for the redevelopment commission
How long ago?
last week.
Okay, all right, that's good. Yeah, if we can get some potential engineering cost estimates, that would help.
And Dean Thomas is the new county engineer. He could assist with putting together a scope of work
Okay.
to be let out for engineering response.
And I think, if you, can you work with Dean on that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Yep, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Let him know.
You guys may be in touch.
Yep,
Great, thank you.
absolutely. So you have how many acres remaining out there?
So it's 22 according to Beacon, and I looked at it a couple days ago.
Okay.
5
5 of
of that's for the fire department.
it's for the fire department?
Yes.
That contract was like 20 years ago that, they dealt with the fire department on that.
Okay.
The fire department's never been able to come up with the funds. We was gonna relocate the station there, and, we've never been able to move any further
Gotcha.
with that.
Okay. Questions from anybody out here yet? How about housing? We got anything cooking for housing development?
So I'm meeting with Bill Walters on Tuesday to discuss that.
Okay,
So that is we're exploring that possibility for the industrial park,
to turn the remaining acreage into housing?
at least a portion of it, yes.
Okay. Nice.
Yes.
Like an apartment unit or something?
Something. Yeah, we're exploring our options on that. So hopefully we'll get some traction on that, but we'll see.
So there's water out there. Is Liberty Regional Waste District out there too? So there's water and sewer. Is there gas out there?
There is, yeah.
Do they kind of stop up at the road? Or are they
I
ready
believe
to?
Liberty Regional will need to add capacity for any future development. But yeah, there is access there.
If we had a developer, how many acres could you commit?
We would need to discuss that.
Okay.
But a good chunk of it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what are we developing? What are you discussing? You said if you had a developer,
Housing, so are you familiar, well, you guys know what's gonna happen out here at the old complex. It's that same developer.
Okay.
oh,
Yeah, D.R. Horton, they want to build housing in the county as well.
Okay.
oh,
At a
Are they
meeting.
interested in any retail along with?
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Mixed use would be something they would talk about. There are a couple of other developers that are building mixed use in the county right now, or in Delaware County, which is, there's some in Yorktown, some in Muncie, but they would also consider doing something in the incorporated territories.
I know we're not gonna get a grocery store out here, but this side of the county is very retail poor. Delaware, our country club and, 32 would be a great option for our grocery store, by the way. But
On
we're
that
food desert.
northeast corner?
Yes,
Okay,
but we
It's Muncie City Limits, I believe.
It is,
That corner there where the old ball diamonds used to be.
yeah.
That's actually Muncie City Limits, that corner.
So the north side of Country Club's the county?
Where the ball diamond is, right
Or
there
the,
behind the
east
Dollar
side,
General and
east
the
side.
VP, northwest corner.
Okay.
Northeast side would be Delaware County, right?
It's city of Muncie. The car dealer owned it.
East is county.
Johnny Morris.
Johnny Moore's had that property, and he donated it to the city if they would incorporate that corner to put the ball diamonds there.
Used to own it.
Yeah.
Cause they were gonna put a store in there. Right there beside the VP.
We had, Randy and I had to do some work with that when they donated it, because it took land from Randy.
Groceries are really hard to get a hold of, because years ago, they were saying they only made a penny from a dollar. And I can't imagine what it is now, but, I mean, that's why Myers, I mean, they sell everything, one stop does it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yes.
There's a new, sort of a C-store, but they have a bit of a grocery element to them. Is that called Milo's Market that
Oh, is that
is
the one up Wheeling?
on Wheeling and,
Yeah.
was it Milo's?
It seems like a, yeah.
And that's a local developer. Somebody from Delaware County developing that.
It's a gas station with a
Yeah.
grocery store in it.
He's been up there, you got, one of your meetings at, yeah.
We passed one, I love it, it's not a Milo's though, what is the one?
One down there at Connersville.
Yep, I've stopped there, it's the same thing.
Hades, yes.
Yeah,
Hayes
yeah,
or Paynes, one
yeah.
or the other.
Davies.
Veterans Highway and you and one.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
grocery store.
It's nice,
I've actually called
I'd
it.
love to have something like that here.
Well, that's what I was talking about on Marla's Corner property,
Yeah.
there on that end of town where she's got that, because, I mean, it's already zoned for business. And we wouldn't have to do anything to that road right there.
Is that a Wawa that's going in? I know the status of that.
Their teams, they have certain teams that build certain prospects of it, and, they're building 60 in Indiana. And so when one team gets done with they're going to the next one. There was some kind of
Backlog or delay or
something, paperwork, something. There was an entrance they were bringing in off Country Club, and from what I understand, they hit either a fiber optic or something there that really slowed them down there.
That's correct. It was a fiber line, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a drop ball there somewhere.
Gotcha.
Casey's was talking on the other corner across from the VP.
They actually own that property still.
Do they? But they couldn't they wanted a bigger entrance from 32. Same thing, DOT wasn't planned.
NDOT wouldn't do it.
It's what we were told.
But it looks like Wawa got it.
I don't, I
know,
don't
I
know.
just don't understand.
Yeah, the part I don't understand, because we have all the residential entrance is 232, what's 1-1?
I think from what I read when Jensen was working here, they're concerned the 2-lane to 4-lane, all that right there at 700. The way I read it, they're concerned that it could cause more accidents with the turn lane and the slowdown, and you guys, every one of you guys know it's a drag strip when
Yeah,
it
I
goes
was
to
gonna say, they should
4-lane.
be more concerned about the 2-lane to 4-lane to 2-lane.
Yeah.
Because that's a recipe
Have
for
the
disaster.
accidents gone down? I know when it first went one lane, there was kind of a few accidents.
Randy's shaking his head yes.
I hate to admit it, but yes,
Yeah,
because I don't know about everybody. I hate
yeah.
1 lane each way,
Yeah.
but yes.
And, NDOT, they do have these engineers that do all this future stuff, and they know what they're doing.
But literally, you can sit on the exit to get out on 32 for 7 to 9 minutes. That's how longest I've sat before trying to get out.
And you
That's
can
in the
actually
morning.
watch people pass cars in the turn lane.
Yeah.
I mean, but the accidents have gone down.
Any questions or comments from the,
Just to the Wawa, I'm glad to hear that it was like the development of the gas station, not, because it was either planning commission or a BZA meeting.
that's what the workers told me. Is what the guys working down there, I stopped and talked to them.
Nope, no, it's D.R. Horton, the same one that's gonna develop the, yep. And they just, agreed to do a new addition. It's in the city limits, but it's gonna be Yorktown School, help me, Jackson and Morrison Road, thank you. I think there's 128 units out there gonna be developed, which is south of Willow Lake and just to the west of, is that Saybrook? Is that the name of that?
Yeah, I think so.
Or just to east, I'm sorry, east of Saybrook. Yeah, they're $300,000 houses, something like that. Market rate. Yep.
When do we anticipate them starting on Country Club at 32?
I believe they're gonna start on it, that's really a mayor question. But I'll give you what I believe. I think they're gonna probably start late next fall, starting with some civil work out there. They wanna finish store estates and get started on this new that we just talked about at Jackson and Morrison, and then get on to that.
You've heard the mayor talk about the store state. They were gonna take it slow, but they've sped it up. How many, 24 houses, I think they?
Yeah, 24, 28, something like that. They bought all the lots,
Yeah,
and,
people are building them.
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard years ago, it was like 10,000 cars come to East Central Indiana a day, and 6,000 go out to work. And so Ball State and Ball Hospital put their heads together trying to get those people to live here. And now I think it's down to 9,000 are coming in. I don't know how many are going out, but it is working. Yeah.
And like I said, the average daily traffic is 10,000 going down 32. So
That's a lot of cars.
it's a lot of cars.
From 7:30 to about 8:30, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what Commissioner Riggins talking about is important because we're losing that local income tax. Those people come here and they work and then they go take their local income tax somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they're typically the higher paying jobs,
Yeah.
you know. So we have to get those folks to live here that work here.
Yeah, out there on Cowan Road, is it Foundry, they call that? complex?
Foundry Row,
Yeah.
And that's gonna be more for the workers that,
that's workforce housing.
and, which we really need, because we need good workers.
That's a TWG development.
Yeah. Is that open up this summer?
That's what we were
Next
saying,
year.
we didn't know what it was.
Next year, I believe. Questions or comments yet? Yep.
Sorry, if I may have missed a lot of some of that, if somebody asked. What are your plans to attract more business and residents to come live here?
Trying to get housing in place. So many of us up here have been involved in economic development for a number of years. Myself, probably close to 30, serving on different boards and also launching businesses here. I can tell you that in the old days, businesses were looking for incentives, tax abatements, some sort of a land transfer agreement. There was something that they were looking for. About 15 years ago, the asking for incentives started trading places with workforce discussions. And now, one of the first questions out of most businesses' mouths are, if we bring you 100 jobs or 300 jobs, do you have the workforce? So it's all, the focus is about workforce. So my overarching goal is to try to grow the population of the county. Everything I do is trying to focus on growing the population of the county. So housing is critical. When you poll the people that Commissioner Riggin was talking about, she said Ball State, Ball Hospital went together, they commissioned the study. And in the top 3 reasons was housing availability, trailing spouse, and travel requirements, proximity to an airport. And the folks that were talking about housing availability, they were looking for higher end housing, $500,000 houses and above. And if you look at Delaware County's availability market right now in that area, you probably see 20 to 30 houses available at that level. So we have to get housing in place. Everybody says, well, you need to go after blight, right? There's a lot of blight. And blight is a result of NAFTA. When when the industry left here years ago, the people left and these houses sat for years and years, and these abandoned houses turned into blight. Now, who has to handle it? Well, if there was money in blight, the free market would have already taken care of that. Every flipper, every construction company, every housing developer would have sucked up these blighted housing and does something with it. That's a very difficult topic to tackle is blight, but I believe it has to be properly balanced and mixed in there. But I believe the answer to your question is housing. We have to come up with more housing. If we get housing, we'll attract people. You get people, you'll attract businesses.
A few years ago, you know, it's been 10 years ago, so my numbers might be off, but when Ball's Hospital put in the med school here, which I think that's their 8th med school that they have around the state, IU, they were only attracting maybe 2 or 3 new interns, because they go to these interns a year before they graduate, and they say to them, of all 8 campuses, what are your first 2 choices? And back then, Muncie only got 2 or 3 first choices. So we knew there was a problem here. So some community people got together and did some remodeling for these interns to come to Muncie, and they used the Maplewood house there on the boulevard, and those kids can live there. So that has shot up, and now we're getting about maybe 20, 25 first choices. And the beauty of this problem, this good news is, when those interns come to the community and the spouse gets a job, then it's pretty likely that those interns, when they become doctors, will stay here because the children are already in school, they found a church, and so that has helped us. And that's where some of these people now want their big houses. So that's really good news that we are up there now.
The second part of my answer to your question would be Commissioner Henry and I met with the Secretary of Commerce for the state of Indiana, David Adams, earlier this week, and he was asking us a similar question to what you're asking. And what we discussed was, is there a possibility that the state can offer some sort of a tax incentive to make up a story? Say you locate a business in Delaware County, and the state sets a hurdle rate of 75%. We're making it up, right? And if 75% of the people that work at that business will live in that community, they would give a tax incentive to the company and maybe float some extra tax money, funnel it to the county. So trying to come up with some creative ways like that to incentivize companies to have a requirement for people to live where they work. Yes. Good question. Other comments or questions? What else does the town council want to talk about?
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna,
having trouble with stormwater.
yep, I was getting ready to bring that up.
I've got 2 issues with stormwater. One of them is, we have a really, really nice ditch. I'm not sure if we put it in or if the county put it in. Runs south here in Selma. It takes some of our water. I'm trying to get most of our water there, but I ran into some snags with the railroad. Okay, that's kind of what I figured. But this ditch out here is 40 feet wide, 8 feet deep, and it's built into a V. Now the first 350 feet of it before you get to 50 South out here, the farmers maintain really nice. The next almost quarter mile, it's got trees growed up in it, and I don't know how to clean that.
Does it restrict the flow when there's...
Yeah, the trees and everything does. So I don't know.
What's the name of the ditch?
Oh, heck.
Is it a regulated drain, or do you know?
You gotta go to the map. I can't remember what it's called.
Where is it? It's just to the east here?
It's south of the tracks right here, and it runs straight down.
It runs north-south?
Yes, sir. And it runs all the way down to the Harris property into that creek
Yeah.
down there.
Is it like Liffler's or something
trying to bring it up here. We'll see
Yeah, I
if
was
we can
trying to
figure
look
it
as well. Have you been to the Stormwater Board?
I have not. I have not. Bruce, I think, is just getting ready to start that. Is that correct, Bruce? No?
I can.
Where we at?
I would say two-prong approach. Approach the Stormwater Board and approach the Drainage Board. So the Drainage Board oversees the surveyor, and the surveyor only has authority to work on regulated drains. If it's a mutual drain or a private drain, as it relates to a mutual drain, the surveyor has limited authority, and a private drain, the surveyor has no authority. So the first thing we need to determine is this a regulated drain or
I
not?
don't know what that
But
blue thing.
I would
yeah.
approach the
Well,
Stormwater
this is
Board
leaker
and
ditch.
the
Is that it?
Drainage Board.
Evidently, yes.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
the ditch you're talking about.
Yeah, that leaper, yeah.
Leafers, you or Jennifer is right.
Yep.
So since it's
So
named,
where's it, should be here, where's it backed up at?
Oh, it's, after you cross 50 south up here.
Right as soon as you cross it.
As soon as you cross 50 south, the trees and everything's growed out. It's behind housing in there.
That's not, is that your ditch?
It's across the road.
It's across the street.
Is that the one you and I discussed?
No,
Okay.
the one that's very fixed, is over
Okay,
here.
but that
We
one,
think he fixed.
that one got fixed.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're hoping.
We're going to see it this
We
spring.
haven't really had a
waiting
heavy
on a big rain.
since he did it.
Okay, cause
that was behind your house, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have damage to the structure of my garage because of it.
but this is it, this is the leaper ditch, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you get
South of 50 south.
south to 50 south,
It has,
It's hairy,
yeah,
okay.
a lot of trees.
full-grown trees.
Okay,
Does it terminate at the Harris property where it dumps into the creek?
Yes, as far as I know. I have never been back here on it.
It goes into the creek, yes.
Yeah, I know it ends up in the creek, but I've never actually rode it all the way down to the creek.
Okay.
We just cleaned the north side of 50.
Yeah, the north side,
We just cleaned it about 5-6 years ago.
it was full of corn stalks.
I used an excavator.
No till,
Trash.
yeah. And, so it's clean. The farmer's keeping it mowed now. But south of 50, it's pretty ragged.
leaper ditch south of 50 south.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got it on the list.
Okay. A list for what?
I'm gonna have a surveyor take a look at it.
Okay,
and see if
See if it's regulated, if he has authority there.
okay,
And if he does, it's Drainage Board.
okay,
yeah.
okay. When is your next stormwater meeting?
Surveyor, you mean
The Drainage Board meeting?
Well, yeah, somebody I can
That's
talk to.
different.
Huh?
Two different boards.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
okay.
We meet on the 9 o'clock on the second Wednesday,
9 o'clock in the morning?
on second Wednesday of the month.
So the next one's the 14th, January 14th at 9 o'clock.
At 9 a.m.
Mhm.
Where would that meeting be at?
Commissioner Courtroom.
9A, our courtroom.
Commissioner
Third
Yu.
floor of the county building downtown.
Okay. Now, your engineer, do you have an engineer for stormwater or drainage board?
Yeah, he's very,
I'm sorry?
he's very capable.
Okay.
We have a
Well,
county
I have-
engineer,
I'm
but I
sorry.
don't, we have a county engineer, but I'm not gonna say he's a stormwater expert, but he's
Yeah.
smart enough to,
Well,
adapt.
we've been paying engineers and we've had a couple projects and they just keep wanting to build these ponds.
Yeah.
Instead of, Jensen and I went down this ditch and we have one 10-inch pipe running basically the whole east end of Selma going into the ditch, from this east end. And we have one 6-inch pipe coming in from Miller Street going in that ditch. I would like to know why we can't get a 24-inch from over here where the water stands straight to the ditch.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
it's a 36-inch up here at East Jackson.
Gotcha.
And then it flows into a 10-inch.
And we have 2 manholes there, and it still, can't handle the water. They're going into that 10-inch.
You know what the construction is? What's the construction of the 10-inch pipe? Is it a
It's
PVC?
PVC, I'm sorry.
Plastic
yes.
PVC?
Yeah, but it's gotta go up north. It turns and goes north up, and then it crosses railroad tracks, and then it's diagonally all the way across that field to the ditch. To me, it's just insane why we can't just go straight off the back of the property, under the tracks and into the ditch.
Yeah, the tracks will
Under
be,
the tracks.
The tracks is the problem. Oh, yes.
it is a problem. Yeah.
I sent an email, the other day to the address that we had, and they said there's an application process, and it would probably be $20,000 permit fee, and if they didn't answer me for 2 years, not to get too concerned.
Right.
Is that right?
And
Is there any drainage at all next to the railroad track?
some.
Existing,
We just had some redone here in Selma that runs right here from the back of the Legion down, and it hooks,
does it go under the tracks?
No,
not,
it runs.
Just
it
runs
runs
parallel
parallel to the tracks all the way down to, Hog Creek or Mud Creek, whatever y'all call that creek down there.
Yeah, there's red.
Yeah, the
It's
drainage
in our
on
retention.
Railroad, drainage on Railroad runs north up South Street and then ties in at Muncie Street to the existing system, and then that runs to where he was saying.
Gotcha.
But down here, it's right, the problem that we're really having is right here, right before the industrial ground. The industrial ground's high enough to where it's not getting it, but it's putting it right on a homeowner there, basically.
So your
One homeowner.
engineers are wanting to build holding ponds.
They're wanting to build another holding
They
pond.
want to hold it and let it go somewhere
Slower.
yeah.
Basically, they don't wanna, they said their goal is to slow it down. That, not to put it on nobody. And I get that, I do understand that, but if we've got a 40-foot ditch, 8 feet deep, I don't think I can fill that up with water. It's got a 36-inch culvert on it on 50 South. And we have a 10-inch plastic pipe and a 6-inch plastic pipe going at it.
And we have two homeowners that received water in their home, Merle's and then Coffee's. And Coffee's was destroyed by the tornado, repaired, water damage, repaired, water damage again.
From floods.
Yes. And we put a new holding pond in, across the road, and
By the
it slowed
dollar
it down. It did, it slowed it down, but now, Jensen just talked to an engineer who wants to talk to us about putting another holding pond back over on the elementary. And, I mean, that's gonna slow it down, and what I did a little bit of legwork today, and, it might help Coffee a little bit, but I don't know why we just can't move it on down the road.
Yeah, the elementary has some drainage issues too out by their playground.
Yes, and that's kinda, to the east of there is
Yep.
where they're talking about maybe putting a pond,
I know where you're talking about. Okay.
but that's all I have.
Is that being drawn up right now?
No, we needed $5,000.
Yeah, 5,000 do not exceed, and we tabled
And
that till next
We
week.
have they wanna draw it up, and they said it wouldn't cost over 5,000. We just haven't done anything with I went to the sewage company to see if they could, but it's not causing any kind of infiltration with them, so they're unable to help us at this time.
Okay.
Cause I kinda blew our stormwater budget this year.
For the year. Comments from the audience about this part of the discussion?
I don't see any of our problem.
None of our stormwater problem, people have made it.
You know, Danielle, while you're here talking about our stormwater, we haven't raised that rate, and someone was saying that we were kind of low compared to other counties or entities.
You mean the ditch assessment fees for,
The stormwater fee, or is it 58 cents?
well,
Do you want me to look at that?
Yeah, just kind of look and see, maybe we could look around, see what other counties are getting. Because we've had stormwater, how many years now?
I've had it for a long time.
well, the drainage board needs to increase their fees too.
Yeah, one thing we are looking at doing from the county's perspective is when a company comes to Delaware County and they want to do something, they submit their stormwater plans and then we hire an engineer to assess it. And then the county, the taxpayers pay for that. And we're gonna change our ordinance so that the person submitting the application has to pay for the assessment on the stormwater fee. So that might be something to consider from a town perspective is, when Dollar General comes and they want to put this here and they submit their civil plans, you can go ahead and have it assessed, but the obligation's on them to pay for that stormwater
Our
assessment.
Dollar General, come with a plan. They built their own pond.
Right.
They got all their own gutters, and they hooked into a drain that crosses under 32, and it's working pretty good. Like Jennifer said, we haven't had any major rain since then. But they built a really nice holding pond.
And we'll see this spring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hope it works. But that, we have a stormwater budget, and we've had to increase it twice this year because there've been so many applications coming in, which is good news, right? Because people are wanting to do something in your county, but then the taxpayers are paying for the engineering assessment of the stormwater plan.
Good.
Yep.
We charge a user fee already, and on our property tax, we'll reassess them.
We have
Each,
a set rate, so every property owner in our town limit pays.
A flat stormwater fee.
I don't remember what that rate is. And we're almost done paying off the.
I think it's
Bond.
$96
bonds,
a
so we
year.
get all the money now instead of parts of it.
Good.
You have plans
It's
for the money
$96.
once you see that windfall? Once the bond's paid off?
Yeah, we're gonna try to address other issues, and, this is part of it.
Put
What we're
yeah,
voting on.
list.
We haven't been good at maintaining some of our stormwater ponds and stuff, so that's also a priority. We have to pay somebody to mow them every year. We have a couple town guys that if we just get a piece of machinery in here, that we could maintain them ourselves.
Gotcha.
There's, like Jensen said, we got all kinds of options, because we went 20-some years without maintaining them.
You thinking about like one of those front mowers that go on the
like
front
the
of
county
a
just got.
skid steer or something like that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the county bought one that goes on the front of a great all that looks to be very adequate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know a guy too.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, he just bought a real nice brush cutter for his skid steer.
I didn't, but.
Well, your son.
Okay. What else you guys wanna talk about? Anything?
It's $7.50 a month.
$7.50 a month per household. How many houses?
342, I think, last time they did a, whatever.
Is your commercial rate then figured differently? It's not. Is it, it's the same price as residential?
Yes, because at that time, we didn't have a Dollar General. We had a few small businesses, and we didn't want to
I understand.
hurt them.
We had a bicycle shop and a hairdresser.
Sure.
Small.
Yeah, absolutely.
These businesses though, with these parking lots, they have a greater area of impervious surface, and that stormwater has to go somewhere instead of going down like your residents do.
That's why I was asking.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. And the bicycle shop, pretty much the only one that would had a bigger,
Right.
Yeah.
which is
Well, but it's
closed now.
what they brought up's a good idea for this young lady wanting to do the co-op.
Yeah.
We have a lady thinking about opening up a brewery in a co-op.
Nice.
She's still talking about it and
Sure.
trying to figure everything out. But
If that gravel parking lot, that's one thing, but a paved parking lot, that water has to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's got a shed.
I got a question.
Excellent.
So, how, from the Liberty Township side of this, so how do we connect Liberty Township to the city of Muncie area to the town of Selma to open our avenue to bring business here? How do we get some businesses to make 32 more inviting to get the people from the city of Muncie? Like McGuire, you've got businesses, you've got attractions all the way down the road. And I think that's part of Selma's problem is we have a gap of just houses from the city limits of Muncie to Selma. So how do we fill that gap between the two to make it more inviting to get people down 32 to here and then get them from here to the reservoir, get them here to Albany? I think it's a lot of our problems. If you guys, anybody else think that, but
slow them
to-
down.
Yeah, there's nothing to bring the gap to make people stop.
I agree with you 100%. There have been many studies done on 32, and the problem's even bigger than what you state. I don't know if this is still a true statement, but a couple years ago, the only restaurant between the McDonald's in Winchester and the Wendy's at Jackson and Tillotson, there weren't any in between. So think about that for a second. The McDonald's in Winchester, all the way to the Wendy's at Jackson and Tillotson, there weren't any restaurants, fast food. You had the Pizza King in Parker and a few things like that, but like a Dunkin' Donuts or anywhere somebody could stop for coffee, you didn't have it.
Right.
So I think that's why the mayor's been kind of intentional about trying to help develop
Side.
on this side of the
Yeah.
bypass to try to, promote that
Yeah,
stuff. But
I
it
think when
needs
Wawa
done.
comes, it'll bring a little bit to the edge of the township, but we gotta get from Country Club to Selma, we have to get something here to get people to travel farther down.
Yep.
To come to Selma.
I agree.
And once you bridge that gap and you get people into the town of Selma, then more people will be apt to come from the city of Muncie to Selma, and then maybe go to the reservoir, maybe go to Albany.
And if you look at the pyramid for how things typically develop, it starts with housing first.
Right.
Housing and population. Population drives the demand for a gas station or a grocery store or a hotel. There have been a lot of talk about putting a hotel out here. And believe it or not, I know this is going to sound weird to people who live in Muncie, but the hotels say, we don't want to build any more hotels because you don't have enough restaurants.
Right.
Right? And they need about 5 restaurants per hotel in a pretty close proximity, or they're not gonna put a hotel in place. So it all starts with population, housing, and then it falls down the chain. So we have to build houses.
So we have the AMA too, which
Yep.
in the summertime, it draws in thousands of people, but they have to go to the west side
To stay,
to stay.
right?
So if we could get hotels, we could get restaurants on this side and draw people into AMA and keep those people on the east side of the county, I think we'd be more profitable as a township,
I agree.
all the way across, but I just don't know how to get the development to come here to start building our pond,
Yeah.
per
One,
se.
infrastructure is the number one thing. For housing or retail, the big challenge for those developers is, that's why I asked about water and sewer earlier, is infrastructure. So if you have infrastructure in place, back in the old days, the developer said, I'm just gonna follow the sewer lines.
Right.
So if the sewer line got extended, they'd go develop. So, we have to make sure that we have the ability to support these folks with infrastructure, whether it's already there or to be able to help put it in when they want to develop.
It's, with the recent meetings we've had with some of the developers, even some of the local guys that build here in Delaware County and live here, that's the big thing is, years ago, they would buy a piece of property, they'd go in, they would put the roads in, they would put the water, sewer, they'd put everything in and build the houses, sell the lots, and they can't do that anymore. They can't afford that.
Right.
So they are, Commissioner Moran's right, they're looking for places where all that infrastructure is already there.
And unfortunately, where the Village Pantry, the dollar store, that whole lot is actually city of Muncie, but somehow it's connected to the county? I don't understand.
The taxes are split between, the trustee gets some part of the taxes, and the city of Muncie gets part of the
Yeah.
taxes. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that's the way that works there.
Because that's a great property when you start building houses. You've got lots beside the dollar store. You've got the farm field, going up the Gray Street. There's a lot you could do to start getting people past Country Club, but you just got to get it started.
Jensen brought up a thing about 3 years ago, and I'll never forget it, about a destination restaurant.
Yeah.
To get something that nobody else had or something to get people to come to town. And that was one of the smartest things I've ever heard anybody say, because I would not have thought of that. But you're gonna have to get something to make them want to come to Selma. To me, it's the Chinese place in Albany. It's a wonderful little hole in the wall, but I like going over there.
Yeah.
A
It's
brewery
something.
would do that.
Yeah, it would,
A
yeah.
brewery would do that.
Yeah, it would.
Is she gonna
You'd have nightlife.
Yeah.
You need something with nightlife.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know if she said anything about food.
I don't know. She come to the one meeting,
Yeah.
talked to her grandpa or whatever a little bit, and
Is she looking for some sort of help?
I think so. Yeah, but I think some of it, I'm not sure her husband's really ready to jump in. Now, she's wanting to, darn it, what is, bank, something to do with Merchants Bank. I forget what she
She
said.
used to work for First Merchants.
There you go.
She left shortly after I left.
Oh, she did. But, yeah, her family already owns the co-op.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, she already had a foot up and just kind of rolling it around. Because it's a wonderful idea if we could help her.
Sure.
Some way of getting that one started, getting that off the ground.
So in those instances, is the county willing to provide any assistance? And if we do find a developer that wants to invest in the town, you know, I don't know what you've typically done in the past in terms of assisting with that, if anything. I'm just asking the question.
I think it's something we would have to talk about. I mean, you know, we have people that say they want to develop and come in, and we really have to pay attention and vet those people. Or, you know, it's if it's local, you kind of know. But sometimes we get people that come in and they paint a good picture, but it's not what they're saying it's going to be, right?
Sure.
So I mean, but I think we're interested to sit down with you guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Talk about it.
I appreciate it. And I don't know, like, not wasting your time, but if we had somebody that was interested in it and we thought that we could help them somewhat, is there a meeting that we could go to that y'all's gonna be at? Because I don't know, but you guys have enlightened me to some things already this evening of ways that we might be able to help somebody. So,
To me, if you guys get something like that, I think we're just a phone call
Just
away.
calls.
Yeah, we can come out here and meet with you guys. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The chamber,
oh, yes,
reach out to them.
okay.
But we still have you in our edit. I think it's 50,000
Mm.
a year, so.
Which is wonderful. It is wonderful having that.
It's helped us a lot.
Yes, covers things that we just didn't see.
But more than likely, that type of assistance would run through the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission.
Yeah, the
Okay.
redevelopment.
But
And we just had that meeting this morning. Happens the same Thursday every
Are
month.
they all during the day?
Yeah, 9 a.m.
But
Okay.
to start, get a hold of us.
Okay.
We'll come out and meet with you guys.
Yeah, well, not wanting to waste time,
Listen,
people's time.
We get a lot of speculators.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Trust me.
That's what we're here for. Okay.
To the point.
Yeah. I mean, but let us know. We'll come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lot of
I
tire
think we've
kickers.
spent a few hours on a museum that wants to come somewhere.
We're not that one.
Hey, yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm not gonna mention any names, but that's my point. We spend time.
Yeah.
We spend time on things and we just
And
kinda.
they don't pan out.
Yeah, you kinda gotta vet through these people, but, yeah, just call us.
Yeah.
That's what we're for.
A lot of tire kickers, but we listen to all of them.
Absolutely.
Because you never
You
know
never
what
know.
could really happen.
Yeah.
Always, yes.
Yep.
Which one's gonna pan?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
I know Ms. Struble just left, so she might be the only one that has the closest answer, but, the closest TIF, speaking of the redevelopment, this is the closest TIF to what they're talking about having any money in it.
I don't have the sheet
Dollar
in front
General
of
is the first investment in that TIF.
Right, so right now, it hasn't probably generated
No.
any increment financing. It probably wouldn't hit until payable 26, is my guess. I could be a year off, but, yeah,
I would agree.
it's a start.
Yeah.
Every TIF started that way, right? You have to start somewhere. Okay,
Well, I'm gonna say something. I usually don't get into a meeting without saying something. But, we need to have goals of what, like, our sidewalks down through here. They're bad. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Drainage is another issue. We got other issues with drainage in other parts of the town. Them some of the main issues, right there. We got some sidewalks, especially down through here. And one thing that I know see, but I'm not saying that could be considered maybe a want. And you don't necessarily go with wants, you go with needs. But at least if we did something to the sidewalks. But I'd like to have it where it's like downtown farmland, where you got the lights right there, make things a little bit more historical, because this is there's a lot of, there is buildings down through here that are historical. And, we have buildings. This one we're in right here, but the next one right over, we own it. The brick's coming apart out of it. We're worried that one of these days it's gonna take money, a lot of money. There's more than just putting a little bit of mortar in there. It's gonna be a lot of mortar, a lot of fixing. We've had quotes out here for stuff on that. But like I said, I've always feel like we should always put a goal for how many, this is what we wanna do, this is what we need to get done first, and then work ourselves down. We got a lot of buildings, the fire department. That's hard to really maintain that on what we have. The amount of money we have, which is hardly nothing. And, we've made do. Randy's still back here? We've made do. We've had to do some things, but we've made do with, trying to get things, but there's a lot of things them guys are breathing in. Probably a lot of carbon monoxide from the trucks. We do have a fan in there, but they gotta go hit a switch all the time. They could put a Plymouth vent system in, but it ain't gonna work, cause everything's gonna flip right back and hit the other truck in the windshield. And, we do pretty, I think we do pretty good for what the amount of money that we have. But there's a lot of dangerous things, like the sidewalks. Because, I'm also on that ADA board from the county. We've talked a lot about that stuff, and I just, that's one thing you worry about, because when it's uneven, it only takes one time, somebody's, you're badly hurt. And that's what I worry about. Some people, even when I was walking the sidewalks down through here, I got a little bit more familiarized with the sidewalks even more. And you really got to watch them steps, because if you don't take one wrong step, and you'd be calling Bart down to help get me up. But,
what kind of grant activity does the town have? Grants that you've applied for, grants you've received?
So she just asked us about Okra.
Yeah.
And we utilized Okra this year, right?
Yeah, so the
It paid
stormwater
off.
project that we just completed, that was Okra.
Okay.
So we got 600,000 through Okra, and then the remaining was paid with the ARPA funds. And then we also received the Ready Grant a couple of years ago in partnership with the ECI.
Community Crossing.
The Community Crossing Grant, we've taken quite a bit of advantage of that. But that helped us redo South Street and Washington Street, the sidewalks and the road there. So that we have done some.
Anything historic preservation that you've?
Nothing.
We haven't went down that avenue at all.
Okay.
Now, one thing we're looking to start up in 2026, hopefully, is we want to try to participate in the Main Street program through Okra, to try to help us improve downtown Selma here a little bit.
Storefronts or?
Yeah, storefronts, and then hopefully bring some businesses in too. But we do plan to start that up sometime in 2026 is the goal.
The last couple of years have been concentrating on the Ball Diamond area, the sidewalks and the Ball Diamond. That's
Gets the most traffic.
basically our biggest draw at this time.
Is there any additional assistance in grant writing? We have a gentleman in our church that has a person that's interested in helping do at least one grant for us. But I think that's where we might have a little bit of a struggle.
When you have your meeting with, Bill Walters in a couple days. Mention to him that you guys are in need of a grant writer.
Grant assistance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, put that on your list for him.
And then you guys manage your own grants? You do all the administration of it?
We did not in Okra. Okra was handled by,
Mike, Peter.
yeah, Klein Peter Associates or whatever. his
Klein Peter
business-
Consulting, yeah.
Consult.
That sucks up some of your grant money.
Yeah, but he helped a ton, and he helped us
He did
qualify, or he helped us, get to
I
grants.
I get it. I get it for the small town.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, had he not been here, we would have been in trouble.
We've been turned down by Okra about every time for everything
Understand.
until he stepped in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we was trying to go through with the fire department stations and stuff, and then until this gentleman come in, we hadn't won an Okra grant.
It costs money sometimes to hire those people, but that's the only way you can, it's the only way it can happen, especially with a town.
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes money to make money.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
It does,
that's-
yeah.
and that's just it.
Yeah.
We have no full-time people. Everybody here works a
Different job.
Yeah.
different job, so,
Does anybody spend any time at the State House?
no.
None, okay.
I've been down there a few times. I've been down there.
Well, there are people in the county that, go to the State House, so if there's something that you guys need, we should talk and try to get it on their agenda to present or to testify or, whatever.
Something on the radar.
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
Anything else from the audience?
I have one final. Have you guys heard anything else about lit tax for 2027? Is that right?
Have we heard anything? You mean, are you
The changes
about
that are
a raise? I haven't, you mean, I don't understand your question. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we were told that lit in 2027, we may not receive it at all anymore. That it would go to the county, and then it was up to the county whether or not it would be dispersed to the towns.
I believe it's county council.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 28,
That's fine.
in 2028, all the special, all the special local income taxes such as economic development income tax, public safety, 911, all those are going away, and there's gonna be a general lit bucket that goes to the county council. And then everybody, including the commissioners, when we're putting together an economic development, like today, we put together an economic development income tax plan. That edit money won't come to the commissioners anymore, it'll go into a bucket for the county council. And then everybody's gonna have to go to the county council and ask for money to be allocated. And it's true, the towns will be in the same
Well,
boat.
it's gonna be a hard hit to us, and I don't know how to replace that.
Yeah, I don't think, I wouldn't approach it thinking that you're gonna lose it, but I would approach it by saying, hey, I don't know what you get in lit. What's the number you get in lit?
It's not that much.
Is it 50,000?
No, I don't even think it's 50,000. We get monthly regular lit and monthly public safety lit. I'm gonna say both of them together is probably less than 40,000.
For the year?
Yes.
Okay, so you would basically go to the county council and show them, if I were you, I'd put together a previous 5-year plan and say, here's what I spent my 40,000 on for the last 4 years. I still need this to do these services. And just make a presentation to the county council based on your historical actual spends. Nobody can argue with that.
Right.
I don't think you're gonna lose it, but you're gonna have to.
You gotta
go
work
lobby.
for it.
You're gonna have to go lobby for it.
All right.
Salt box, there's your chance.
But you have the data.
I do.
Yeah,
You do.
so.
I do, especially the public safety one.
Okay, I'll ask for it right now.
It helps fund my fire department and my police department, and I mean, without that money,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I understand.
yeah, I do too. Everybody's gonna be in the same boat,
Yeah.
including the commissioners.
Yeah.
So today, we put together an edit plan, and we go ask for the money to be approved.
Okay,
In the future, we're gonna have to put together an economic development plan and go ask for the money to be allocated. It's a difference,
yeah,
right?
okay.
And we just have to, and we'll have to work together. This is where the towns and the commissioners have to be on the same page and make sure the county council stays in their lane,
Yeah.
right? They just approve or disapprove the money, not the projects, not what you're doing with it,
Right.
just the money, right? They need to stay in their lane.
You
And
might,
I'll stand up to the microphone first, and I'll be the first one to tell them,
Okay.
right? It's not your decision.
All right.
Yeah,
you might invite the council to come out and visit you,
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
lay some plans.
I mean, I've told Jessica and I've talked numerous times about, we don't have no money.
I thought you were insinuating about an increase. I've heard nothing about an increase.
Oh, no, everything.
I hear no interest.
There's not gonna be no increase.
No.
There's too many people,
No, I
too many
just-
people running for office.
No, I just thought that we weren't gonna get it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's,
I understand.
and we need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he went to Baker Tilly the other day to try and find out how to increase our revenue. And basically, she told him there wasn't, except for bring in more
New
business
development,
here.
yeah.
That's right.
So, we just don't have any money.
Grow the population, grow the total payroll of the county. That will bring more,
But that's also annexation, and that's almost impossible to do nowadays.
yeah.
So,
Have you guys, speaking of annexation, has there ever been a discussion here about annexing?
Yeah,
anything?
we lost.
We had some about 10, 15 years ago, and that's kind of the way some was all jerked around, because what happened was we gave away a water and a sewage before we annexed them. We had nothing to offer. So when we went to annex them, they hired a lawyer, and we had nothing to offer.
Gotcha.
We couldn't.
They just said
The
we
only
was
thing we
just
can offer-
raising
You
the
couldn't
taxes.
improve their situation.
Yeah, whatever, I screw this up quite a bit, so it's like a .008 tax rate, and the town of Selma is like .0012 or something. I mean, all we was offering was taking more than money.
But we do wanna revisit that, to see if there might be a potential there, to
We
where
would
we
really
can,
like it,
yeah.
to at least get our borders
yeah.
somewhat.
Well, we have some properties on Jackson Street where the front of those people's property is in the town limits, the back of the property is county,
Yeah, our borders.
in
are dry.
between the industrial park and the school. You can look at the
Yeah.
Beacon map and see it.
Most towns have situations like that somewhere.
Yeah,
Well, in the same
Gaston.
teams meeting that she did discuss that we could carry different tax rates for different parcels of
Urban and rural.
property, and so there's ways to possibly do it to not upset the people that you'd be annexing.
Yeah, we don't wanna negatively impact anyone, and, so we would, definitely work with whomever we're trying to annex to make sure it benefits them along with the town.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's
I,
all I
I got one more thing.
3
If you
minutes.
guys, well, I'm gonna try to make it as fast as I can. Remember me calling you, Shannon, about if we can come up there at that meeting? The
Redevelopment.
redevelopment. Well, we got the bids, but I think there was some concern whether or not if we had some of our ducks in a row to come up there and talk about it.
Help me remember what.
It was over the salt spreader.
Okay, yes.
And, so, I was kinda told more or less we maybe should back off it just a little bit until is there any way we can help us out? Cause the one we have is on borrowed time.
Do you remember what the quote was for, or the bid was for?
I think altogether it was, 10, I sent you the paperwork, and I think it ended up coming to 10,000. Cause we got the one with the vibrator, it might have been a little bit less.
Yeah, it's,
This goes in the bed of a pickup truck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
discount unit.
10,150 is the.
Where was that? Where'd you get that quote from?
From up at Right Way.
Right away.
We got a few other ones, but one put another town's name on it when they sent the bid out. It's what I was told.
Happens a lot. We get the city of Delaware all the time.
No.
I'm surprised you don't get Delaware, Ohio. 'Cause that happens a lot.
Just, yeah, I agree.
Why don't you, could you send me that quote, please?
He's probably got, I sent it to him, but
How old is the quote?
It's pretty recent, isn't it?
yeah, it's real
recent.
recent.
Let us take a look at it, and we may be able to.
We tried some places in Indianapolis. Some have a little bit of concern because we then were given the business down there. I mean, they're not a whole lot cheaper, if any.
No, I understand,
So we,
Wade, they're right way, they kind of maintenance some of that stuff too, so. I think the county just bought a small one from there.
We did. We bought a small one for the Justice Center to go in the bed of a pickup truck.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that for you. If you can get us that in the next day or two.
Sure.
Okay, please.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that out there in front of
Yeah,
they used to send us out there.
yeah.
Little pickup going around and, that was a challenge at times. But,
That's very good, Bruce.
yeah, it was neat.
Anything else?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Good job.
Well, thanks for hosting us tonight. Really appreciate it. I've enjoyed the conversation. I've learned a lot. Hopefully, everybody learned something, takes something away, and don't hesitate to reach out.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys come out.
Yes,
And,
thank you for,
Reach out to us. I think you need to communicate a little bit more with us and let us try to, when you're running into these situations, keep us informed on what's going on.
okay. All right,
And,
we'll do
and
that.
make sure, when you meet with Bill, you have the list. And if you run into any issues with that, let us know.
Okay. All right.
But again, thank you for all you guys do for town of Selma, and we appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
Appreciate
the
it.
tornado stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
the tornado was huge, yes.
We appreciate all of
Truly
it.
appreciate that.
Couldn't have done it without you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, Tommy and
Yep.
you guys, Selma is a lot more than we would ever handled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what, and honestly, the town, I know, maybe it's not completely, and some people are still feeling the effect, but the appearance, the town has recovered really well.
They've done well. They've
I
done
mean,
well.
just, I drive from that way a lot, and it's really, from pulling up here that morning after,
Yes.
to driving through there tonight and seeing the Christmas lights, and it's good.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Well, we thank you, all of you, for coming on.
Thank you.
Is there any way that we can get, possibly, the state senator and representative to come out
Invite
soon?
'em.
Well, we can
Invite 'em.
talk to them, yes.
They will. I'm certain if you invite them, they'll carve out the time.
I know personally, I hate bothering you guys about some of this, because I know you're getting bugged by everybody. Everybody needs money. And we're probably all gonna need it after this year.
So your reps are both JD and Scott?
Yeah.
Those are your only reps, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Scott had a procedure here recently, so he's not super mobile, but I'm certain
Sometime after
if
first,
you ask, they'll come.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy, appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Brandon, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you very much. I remember you from the tornado.
Oh, do you?